Right.
So you mentioned that you have a choice of project. What do you mean by that?
So most of my business comes from referral. Mm-hmm. Almost, I would say 98% of the business. And that's really been for 31 years, which is how long I've had my own company. But almost everything has come because somebody recommended us. Oh, you should talk to Pam. You should. Mm-hmm. And so, so when we get a referral or a lead, I have to look at it and go, okay, first of all, do they have their act together? Mm-hmm. Do they have funds? You know, I'm like, sorry, I'm not doing this for my health. I am, but I'm not. You know, I got to put a roof over my head. Are they going to be pleasant to work with? I mean, and that doesn't mean they can't be difficult at times and be demanding, but like my example just now, like that's not going to fly. I will not be bullied, condescended to. You know, I know that we do good work. We have an excellent track record. So I assess a number of things and see if it's really going to be a good fit for us. Also, can we do a good job on this? Is this really in our wheelhouse? Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, is this an industry that we have any experience in? My philosophy is always, you can learn the industry, but there are certain things like I would feel like I was selling myself falsely if I went in and really tried to pitch a high-tech company. It's just not what I do. Now, I could pitch them and bring somebody in to do it, but it's not my expertise. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so there's a lot, you know, there has to be a fit. Mm-hmm. And on the flip side, it really has to not be a fit for me to say no. I mean, we're small business owners. You don't just go, I don't want to do that. Yeah. You know, like I have to write a proposal this week. I'm going on vacation next week with my husband for our 20th wedding anniversary for a prospect. And it's going to be a bear to pull this thing off based on what they want. I actually have till the end of next week, but I have to do it this week or relinquish the opportunity. So it's like, well, this other thing I have, this other client, they're on a little bit of shaky ground. If that goes away, I'm in trouble. Like, I don't have the luxury to say no unless it really was not a fit on a number of other levels. Mm-hmm. So it's constantly an assessment.
Mm-hmm. So have you had any projects where they were not a fit and you had to?
Oh yeah. I mean, not having funds is you know, like, and there's a grapevine. Don't work for those people. They have no money. They didn't pay us. You know, people, you know, like we all know each other here in Boulder. It's like, oh, you don't want to work for them. They will never pay you. I'm like, nope, sorry. You know?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So you hear it like,
yeah. Unless it's somebody that, you know, and like, I work with a lot of young startup emerging brands. Mm-hmm. And that's a question you have to ask right up front. And if they're a good company, they will say to you, you know, honestly, we don't have the funds to do this right now, but we would like to keep talking. Okay. You know, I'm like, sure, I'll give you an hour of time. I'll brainstorm with you. I mean, you know, you give away some stuff every now and then, just have a conversation. And then you find out, well, they don't really have the money to hire us right now. And that happens a lot because there are a lot of startups in this industry. It's sort of the nature of the industry, of the natural products industry. Mm-hmm. Way more companies that don't have money and aren't organized than the other way around.
It's Boulder too. Yeah. Startup culture is very strong. Are there any disadvantages for being a freelancer? Yeah,
I mean, you know, I can tell you that there are times when I'm like, God, I wish I could just have a paycheck. That every 2 weeks, you know, get somebody to pay your insurance, you know. But, so yes, I think there is, I don't know if it's real security, but there's a sense of like when you have a job and you are being paid by somebody else that there's security. Mm-hmm. And so in hard times, it'd be like, wow, boy, it'd be great to, you know, have that security, to have that, like, actually having a paycheck come in and not, because clients don't always pay on time. I'm lucky, you know, I kind of, you know, I know when to crack the whip, but having cash flow, regular cash flow, having some, you know, a structure that you're not responsible for, you know, But at the end of the day, the trade outs have never been worth it for me to like go the other way. So,
do you see any disadvantages for your career or healthcare or retirement savings or anything like that?
Really just self-made. Just, if it's not working, it's because I decide to take, some time off. I tend to like slow down in the summertime. Part of it is cyclical in the way that the business works, because the first quarter is always really busy. People sign contracts for 6 months, then something happens. So usually June, July, there tends to be a little, and I could go out and pound the pavement, and I'm like, no, I'd rather go ride my bike. I'd rather go, So, yeah, I could, keep pushing hard. But like I said, I've been doing this a long time. I choose to have some downtime. So it's all, any of the downsides, I would say, are self-imposed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's the piece you're talking about there, flexibility.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the term gig economy?
Gig?
Yes.
Gig economy.
GIG. Yeah.
Yeah, I have. I have heard the term. I'm trying to think of where I heard it. I think I read something about it recently, and it does not, I can't really verbalize it. So, yeah, I couldn't tell you exactly what it is. If you've said this is, I go, oh, yeah, right, I read that. But, yeah.
So this is if I would ask you to define this, how you understand this from your readings or from, hearsay, what would you say?
Gig economy.
Yeah. Is it the same as freelancing for you, or is it something different?
Well, I guess if I was going to hypothesize, it would be sort of a result of a community that chooses to work this way. Yeah, a gig economy is a state, right? It's not like a process, it's a state. The economy is, right? So a gig economy is a certain way of being. So if it relates to the freelance world, it would be the result of a workforce driven by freelancer and corporate and consulting culture.
That's cool. Thank you. In general, what type of person do you think is ideal for working as freelancer?
Oh, well, you have to be organized, self-motivated, disciplined. You have to have a thick skin. You have to not give up. You have to be flexible. You have to be willing to, ride the roller coaster. I think you have to have social skills, because you got to be able to network. You have to be able to ask for what you want. You can't be shy about asking for what you want. And be, I think, a good manager, unless you're going to do it all yourself, and be able to work well with other people who you're not necessarily in an office with every day. That's been an interesting challenge and benefit to Essenza, my company, is that none of us work in an office together at all, and some across the country, and some I see maybe once a year, People in Boulder I see every month when I'm here. But, yeah, you have to be nimble. Yes.
Oh, that's cool. So let's talk about team now.
Okay.
How did you find team, and why did you start working here?
So, well, first of all, Trish is a good friend of mine, and I respect her incredibly. And I owned a home and lived in Boulder full time with my husband and my kids until 6 years ago, when we decided to sell our big house. Kids are gone, and we wanted to kind of to slow down the lifestyle, a little bit. So we bought a house in Durango, so down in southwest Colorado. And then I found that I really couldn't make a living in Durango. And I missed Boulder and my friends. And so I decided to come back. I bought a condo, but I didn't want to be sequestered in my condo when I'm only here once a month. So I started talking to Trish, and she's like, well, we're going to start renting out some of the desks at when it was still Atomic 20. So I started working with her and Jeff when it was Atomic 20. And so I paid a networking